This project was made possible with the support of Cal Humanities, a nonprofit partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Visit www.calhum.org.
Uncle Freddie. World War II. Germans ravishing Europe. Japanese running crazy in the Far East. I was born in 1941. A young man from Louisiana and the old plantation area where I came from also joined the military and went to war. Uncle Freddie, my father, Henry, Eddie Phillips, men from all over. After the war, around 1945 or 46, they came home, and Uncle Freddie came home. He settled in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and married Aunt Ethel. He had 4 boys. He would come to the country on the weekends to see my grandmother, Emma, his mom, and he was our disciplinarian, actually. My mother had 7 children, and there was no father in the house, so it was common in those days for someone to be a mentor to help make sure. And one of the things that he would say to us was, if you guys do anything to my mother while I'm away, you're going to see me on the weekends. And so that's basically the way it was. Every Saturday, Uncle Freddie would, just about every Saturday, would come home to see about his mother. And grandmother would make a mental note, starting on Mondays, on what we would do through the week. And then when Uncle Freddie came, she would pass on to him the things that she thought that we had done that were not quite good kids should do. What would happen, we would watch the entrance to the old road leading to the former slave cabins. The Greyhound bus would stop, and off stepped Uncle Freddie, walking like a soldier down the lane. And sometimes the bus would go by, and we would be happy that Uncle Freddie didn't come that weekend. Of course, sometimes he would pull the cord late, and he would go past the lane and get off and walk back. And our happiness and joy would disappear because here come Uncle Freddie with that military gait coming home. And then Grandma would report, and Uncle Freddie would melt out justice. An example of the type of things that Uncle Freddie would do to us to make sure that we didn't harm his mom, our grandmother Emma. Well, I remember one time he hung me, put a noose around my neck, and said, "You've been bad all this week, so I'm going to hang you." And I would put me on the bench. And I would stand there with this noose around my neck, and he would say, "Jump." Well, needless to say, I would not jump. But then one day, I was so frustrated that he said, "Jump," and I did. And he said, "Boy, you must be crazy. Don't you know that you could get hung jumping off this bench with this noose?" Well, that was the last time Uncle Freddie tried to hang me. Another example was Uncle Freddie would smoke us. They would put us in a sack, light a fire, throw some old Spanish moss on the fire, and let the smoke blow over all of us in the sack. That was called getting smoked, and many of us got smoked in our early days from Uncle Freddie. Then on Sunday, Uncle Freddie would get back on the bus, headed back to Baton Rouge. Happy days for us. Grandma Emma would start keeping her record again. We survived Uncle Freddie. All except one of us is alive today. No one went to jail, got shot, or shot anybody. Uncle Freddie is buried with his wife Ethel in the military cemetery at Port Hudson, Louisiana.
Wow. Can I ask you a question about that, actually?
Yes.
It's a really short story. I'm just curious. Can you tell me how do you feel about your relationship with your uncle now? Like, what are your thoughts about him and his memory?
Well, in my memory, I would think that it was very harsh treatment that we got from Uncle Freddie, and today he would be arrested and thrown in jail for child abuse. And the fact that I look at our society today and see what happens to kids that are allowed to run free and loose and have their freedom and everything like that, and I don't know. You know, I mean, of course, I do have my thoughts about corporal punishment for children, but I also feel that parents should have some kind of control over their children, because the result of children not getting some type of training is pretty rough from what I see. And yet, I thought it was a little harsh, but me and Uncle Freddie got along well. I was one of the kids, whenever I left and went back to Louisiana to visit, I would always stop by and see Uncle Freddie. And I said, well, I'm going to see Uncle Freddie. And the rest of the kids said, you're going to go see that asshole, or whatever words they would use. None of them liked Uncle Freddie a lot, but he was very proud of me for my accomplishments and leaving home and being successful in life. So I don't have any animosity or resentment against Uncle Freddie. He came up in a rough time, and that's the way it was. So thanks.
Everybody came out good, huh?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Except my youngest brother, who never got smoked.
Okay. I bet Uncle Freddie was looking for him. Yeah. I wish I could have met Uncle Freddie.
This project was made possible with the support of Cal Humanities, a nonprofit partner of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Visit www.calhum.org.